Hello everyone, David Coe, the Coe Real Estate Group. One of the questions we get asked a lot about is this new proposition that was passed a few years ago called Proposition 19. Now, if you remember, we used to have two other propositions, Proposition 60 and Proposition 90, that related to the transfer of your property tax basis. So if you're over a certain age, your ability to take your property tax basis with you. So Prop 19 replaced both Prop 60 and 90 a few years ago, and I figured this would be a good time to kind of do a review of what it actually means and how it affects you as a property owner here in California. So Prop 19 was actually voter approved in November of 2020 and went into effect in 2021. This was Senate Bill 539, which became law. And there's two key components to it. The first component is the ability to transfer your property tax basis to your heirs when as part of your estate plan. The second part is to transfer your property tax basis with you if you decide to move to a different home here in California. Both have significant tax savings, so let's jump into it. So first of all, let's start talking about if you decide to sell your home and take your property tax value with you to move someplace else in California. So if you're downsizing, if you're just relocating, whatever your situation may be, if you're over the age of 55, if you have a severe disability, or if you're impacted by some kind of disaster, you have the right to port or take your property tax basis with you. You can go anywhere in California. That's a big difference from Prop 60 and 90, where you were limited to only certain counties within the state that had some kind of reciprocal agreement with whatever county you were in. Now, Prop 19 applies to the entire state of California, and there's no cap on what your value will be. So before, with Prop 60 and 90, you could only buy something the same price or lower to be able to port your property tax basis. Now you can buy any amount of property and take your property tax basis, with one exception here. You have 2 years to be able to do this. And the first year you get up to 105% of whatever the value of your property was at the time of sale. And you get an extra 5% in year 2 to give you 110%. And then anything in addition to that will get taxed at whatever basis you are in whatever particular city you buy your new home in. I'll give you an example of that here in a minute. So the requirements are this. It has to be within 2 years of sale, right? So if you sell a property, it's not like a 1031 exchange where you have to immediately or within 90 days get into another property. You have up to 2 years for your property tax basis transfer. Again, you have to be 55 plus at the time of the sale, or disabled, or being affected by some kind of natural disasters, which we have had plenty here in California. Both of the homes must qualify for the exemption, so you can't transfer your property tax basis into a commercial property. It has to be another residential property. And of course, this has to have happened after April 1st of 2021. So here's how it works. Basically, you get whatever your previous value of your home was. Let's say you bought a house for $500,000 in, let's say 1995, and that home is now worth $1.5 million. Okay, so what you get is the original basis, which is that $500,000, plus you get a $1 million addition that you can transfer over. So if you sell your house for $1.5 million and then you buy another house for $1.5 million, you basically can take that $500,000 basis, whatever you were paying on your property taxes, and transfer that to the new home. And basically you would be paying the same amount of property taxes you would be paying on the home you just sold. Now, if you took a $500,000 home and then you went and bought a $2 million home, well, you could only port 1.5 million, or 1.5 of that would be subject to Prop 19. So the 1.5 million of that would only be taxed at that $500,000 basis level from when you bought. That extra $500,000, that would be reassessed on your new home. So you would take your existing property tax, the new $500,000, you'd be paying taxes on roughly $1 million, which is half of what you would be paying if you were to be reassessed on the entire $2 million purchase. Hope that makes sense. If you have any questions, please reach out and let me know. What you also get is a parent-child transfer. Okay, so if you leave your home to your kids, you can transfer your property tax basis to your children, which offers them a significant amount of property savings. Now, you have to be living in the house. Your children must then occupy the home as a primary residence, at least for 1 year. And again, the same math applies if the time that you pass away, if you bought the house for $500,000 and the house is now worth $1.5 million when you pass away, well, you can basically transfer that $500,000 basis to your children, and there's no additional property taxes. They're going to continue to pay the same property taxes you are paying. If your home is now worth $2 million, then the same kind of reassessment would apply, where you could port $500,000 or $1.5 million with the $1 million addition that the state gives you. And the other $500,000 that would be left, your child would be taxed on that $500,000 at whatever the existing property tax rates are. But again, a substantial reduction in their property taxes that they would have to pay. Now, there are forms that you have to fill out. This isn't just something that happens automatically. And I didn't decide to go into all the forms here, but I have some resources that you can look at on the next slide. So there's also a condition of Prop 19, which also has a grandparent to child transfer. And it works exactly the same way, except you can only pass it on to your grandchildren if their parents are deceased and no longer around. But if you are, for some reason, surviving your children, you can transfer your property tax basis to your grandchildren. Again, they must own or occupy the home. All the same math formulas still work, but that is something that Prop 19 allows. So some resources and next steps. First of all, please consult a professional. I have a really good understanding. I could certainly help you out. If you have more detailed questions, this is where you probably need to get a real estate attorney in to help figure it out. You could go to the Board of Equalization's website, boe.ca.gov. That's where you can get a lot of information. It's actually where I went and did the research for this video and got my facts as well. Your county assessor office also has resources, and that's also where forms are, where you can get the necessary forms to successfully execute a Prop 19 transfer. So I hope this has been helpful. If you are contemplating leaving and wondering about your property tax basis, everyone gets so focused on their actual the tax of the sale of the property, on the gain on the property. Sometimes they overlook the fact that there might be tax advantages in transferring your property tax. So hope this has been helpful. If there's any additional questions, please reach out to me. If I can't answer them, I will refer you to professionals that can. And if you just have any questions at all about your home, I'd love to be a resource. Please feel free to reach out. David Coe, the Coe Real Estate Group. I hope you're doing well and hope to talk to you soon.